Alright, today we're going to do quadratic equations again, except the only difference is now x squared has an a in front. Alright, yesterday it did not. A was 1. So when you're breaking down ax squared plus bx plus c, b breaks down to m and p like yesterday. Alright, so they add to give you b. When you multiply them, it gives you AC. Whatever A times C is, that's what M times P gives you. Alright? Alright, so it says factor this trinomial. 7x squared plus 29x plus 4. Now, we have a number in front of x squared, so we have 7 for A. So what we do is we're gonna have to break up 29. Two numbers that add to give you 29. And they multiply to give you A times C, which C is 4 and 7 is A. So we got to figure out what two numbers would add to give you 28 or 29 and multiply to give you 28, because that's what 7 times 4 is. So I'm going to break this up into x here plus something in front of x here plus 4. What would add to give me 29 and multiply to give me 28? You guys know? 1 and 28, right? So what I would do is I would go 1 here and 28 here. So then what we do is we factor by grouping. Remember doing that? I make this a group, I make this a group, and I factor. What can I take out of 7x squared and x? X. What's left? 7, the x, and what else? 1. So then I factor the other group. What can I take out of 28x and 4? 4. What's left when I take 28 divided by 4? 7. What about x? X. And then what's, when I take 4 divided by 4, what do I get? 1. So I got plus 1, which, by the way, you have to make this look like this. That's why if it doesn't come out exactly the same, you can't combine them, so you probably did it wrong. We combine what's in front, the x and the 4, and then we combine the 7x plus 1. So here's the answer you would get. Write this one down. So I have to factor 3x squared plus 15x plus 18. Now, I could do it like we did the problem before, but if I notice something, you guys notice something about this trinomial? There's a common factor of all these. And it's 3. Oh, that should be 6. Isn't there a common factor of 3? Yeah. So now I can ignore this 3 and I can factor this. X squared plus 5x plus 6. So what adds to give me 5 and multiplies to give me 6?
3 times 2.
2 and 3, right? So you do x plus something and x plus something, which we determined is 2 and 3. And there's your answer. All right, we have 6x squared plus 22x minus 8. Does anyone see something here?
Yes.
What?
4 x's.
Is there anything I'll factor out? That's always the first thing you look.
Negative C.
I can take 2 out. I'm left with 3x squared plus 11x minus 4. Then I can factor this. Okay, now don't forget, 2 is always going to be in your answer, but we're not worried about it right now. So I need to break up 11 into 2 terms. Which, by the way, okay, if you look, C is negative, so that means one of them has to be positive and one has to be negative. Okay? So, we're not for sure. That's kind of a deal you just figure out. So we just break up plus x and then minus 4. So what would add to give me 11 and multiply to give me negative 12? What would add to give me positive 11? They're opposite signs, remember. Okay? And multiply give me negative 12.
11 times
Well,
-1. Oh, wait, never mind.
How about 12 times 1? Which one's going to be positive, the 12 or the 1? 12. Right? Which this works out. They both a factor. So then what I do is I group 3x squared and 12x. What can I take out of 3x squared and 12x?
3.
3. What else?
X.
X. What's left? X. And the first one, what's left when you take 3x out of 12x? 4. What do I need to take out of negative 1x and negative 4? Negative 1. Because I've got to make this look like this. What is negative 1 when I factor out negative 1x? X. What's negative 4 divided by negative 1? Positive 4. So then I combine what's in front and I combine what's in back. There's my answer. 2n squared minus n minus 1. When I look at this, I see that c is negative and m plus p is negative, the b, right? So what does that tell me about m and p? One's positive, both positive, or one's negative, both negative. What does it tell me? If c is negative, that means they have to be opposite signs, right? And if b is negative, what does that tell me? The larger one is negative, right? Okay? Because they add, even though they're opposite signs, they add and they give you a negative sign. So that means, so I'm going to break n, which is 1, into negative n and positive n. What would add to give me negative 1 and multiply give me negative 2? Add to give me negative 1 and multiply give me negative 2. Negative 2 and positive 1. Okay, what can I take out of 2n squared and negative 2n? 2, what else? N. What's left? N minus 1. What can I take out of 1n and negative 1?
1.
What's left?
N.
Minus.
1.
There we go. 2n plus 1 times n minus 1. There's my answer. 10y squared minus 35y plus 30. Does anyone see something?
You can factor it out.
Factor what out? 5. We're left with 2y squared minus 7y plus 6. A lot easier to work with. So I've got to split up negative 7y. And I look and see that c is positive and b is negative. So that means they're both going to be negative. So they each add to give me a negative 7, and they multiply to give me positive 12. 2 times 6. What adds to give me negative 7 and multiplies to give me positive 12? How about 3 and 4?
Oh. Please it's mine.
Multiply give you 12. Add to give you negative 7.
Okay.
Negative 4, negative 3. Which we group 2y squared and 4y. You get 2y out of that, and you're left with y minus 2. You take negative 3 out of negative 3y and 6, which will leave you with y minus 2. Combine what's in front, and you combine what's in back. Alright, so all this is a polynomial that cannot be written as a product of two polynomials. Is called a prime polynomial. So like a trinomial that can't be factored, like we've been doing on all the other problems, it's called a prime polynomial. So this problem says factor 4x squared minus 3x plus 5. Your homework will say if the polynomial cannot be factored using integers, write prime. So let's factor it. 4x squared minus 3x plus 5. I always look at what I'm given. I can't factor anything out. So then I look, C is positive and B is negative. So that means they're going to be opposite signs, right? Or they're going to be the same sign because they both they multiply, give me positive. And so I'm looking to see what adds to give me negative 3 and multiplies to give me 20. Well, let's go through the factors of 20 and see if anything adds to give me negative 3. Now remember, they both have to have the same sign. You're talking 1 and 20. Does that add to give you negative 3? No, that add to give you negative 21. What about 2 and 10? That add to give you negative 3? No, that give you negative 12. 3 and 4? That add to give you negative 3? No, they'd add to give you negative 7. So, is there anything that we can factor this?
Prime.
No, so I write prime. Here's your homework assignment.